And this is an overview of a unit that I created about weather for diverse learners, including students with special needs and English language learners. In addition, this unit also covers all 8 of the multiple intelligences. First, let's go over what is happening in this unit. It is an 8-day unit. The lesson plans, or the daily lesson plans, are anywhere from 40 to 60 minutes long. This unit includes Common Core standards, which are phrased as IEP goals. As stated before, this unit addresses all 8 multiple intelligences. So the unit objectives, goals, and learning outcomes for this unit have to do with the weather and the weather cycle. This unit is technology infused. The goals and learning outcomes are cross-curriculum. They cover English language arts, science, English language development, and math. This unit includes study strategies and issues of safety as they pertain to weather. Gardner has named 8 multiple intelligences. These multiple intelligences are visual, kinesthetic, intrapersonal, interpersonal, musical, logical, and naturalistic. It's important to understand that all students do not learn the same. And so if we are trying to reach diverse learners, it's really important to try and incorporate as many of these into your lessons as possible. The technology and devices, including other materials needed for this unit, are your laptop, and hopefully you have Discovery streaming access. If not, the video that is viewed is accessible through YouTube, although it has the commercials before viewing. You'll also want to have a smartboard and some type of smartboard markers. It comes with red, green, blue, and black. So you can use those markers to actually draw during this unit. We're going to also want to have access to desktop computers so that students can use Google and YouTube. And another app that is being used requires an iPad, and the app is called Screenshot. It's free. Now, the Common Core standards that are addressed in this lesson are phrased through the kindergarten level. However, the strands continue on through 3rd grade. So even though the language is in that of the kindergarten, it's just an unpacked version of the 1st and 2nd grade standards. And that is how we adapted these standards to be for multiple grades for special needs students. One of the standards that will be covered in our unit is reading and comprehension, RLK.1. And that is, with prompting and support, students will ask and answer questions about key details in a text. Now, we have adapted this standard to include asking and answering questions about videos and any exploring that they may do on the application or any prior knowledge that they may have. This still fulfills the standard for students with special needs. And we have a lot of writing goals, even though most of our students are not yet writing in the conventional sense. However, in special education classrooms, it is absolutely acceptable for students to focus on the dictation portion of writing, so especially in kindergarten. So our standards that we will be looking at for writing are using a combination of drawing, dictating, and writing to compose an opinion piece. This is what we use the Screenshot app for. If you have not yet explored that app, I encourage you to do so. Then another standard that we will be addressing in this unit is WK.8, which is with guidance and support from adults, recall information from experiences, or gather information from provided sources to answer a question. We'll cover this with either the paraprofessionals or the teacher, guiding students through research using Google, using YouTube, and any other sources that they may come upon while they're using these technology devices. And also participating in shared research projects, which is WK.7. And that is the goal, and that is the final product of this unit. We also have a math standard that got addressed kind of as a sub-standard standard, and that is classify objects into given categories, count the number of objects in each category, and sort the categories by count. This standard is covered during the graphing portion of the lesson. Students will be introduced and have experience determining the one-to-one correspondence that goes with students making votes or explaining their point of view and having their opinions graphed. So they will understand that one hand in the air corresponds to one tally mark or one cube on a graph. And the technology standards that are addressed in this lesson are ISTE 1A, which is applying knowledge to generate new ideas, products, or processes. ISTE 2, students using digital media and environments to communicate collaboratively to support individual learning and contribute to the learning of others. And ISTE 1.C, which is using models and simulations to explore complex ideas. Now we're going to get into the meat and the potatoes of this unit. This, as I said before, is an 8-day unit, and on day 1, it is basically going to be our anticipatory set. Now, our day 1 model will follow typical SEDI instructional best practice, which is you need to begin by front-loading the vocabulary. Now, because these are students with special needs, you cannot assume that they know and understand even simple terms. So the terms that we're going to be covering for vocabulary are rain, sun, fog, snow, ice, wind, and cloud. And the way we're going to be covering these ideas is we're going to first introduce them, and then we're going to put these students into 3 small groups, each working with a teacher or a paraprofessional. And then in the small groups, the students are actually going to be using the ScreenChomp app to draw pictures of each of these vocabulary terms, which also happen to be weather, and illustrate it while they're explaining what they know about it. So this is a way for our verbal learners, our visual learners, and our kinesthetic learners to have access to what we're trying to teach them. And for day 2, on day 2, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to activate their prior knowledge. Anything that was covered in the day before, including their own experiences. So we're going to begin our discussion, we're going to begin our day by having a short discussion about the weather. We're going to talk about what was the weather like today, how can you tell what the weather is, and how do you think it will be tomorrow? So we're going to use students' knowledge of weather patterns prior to instruction to make predictions so that they understand that it's important to understand the weather. Then we are going to watch the video, Magic School Bus Kicks Up a Storm. And again, we're going to make predictions and try and guess what the main idea is of the video. And then once we've watched the Magic School Bus Kicks Up a Storm, we're going to break into small groups. And in our small groups, again, we're going to be using the ScreenChomp app on iPad, and we're going to illustrate and answer the set of predetermined comprehension questions about the video. And we've chosen 3 questions from the video, and they have to do with air, water, and what mix up to make weather changes, what the name of the storm was in the video, and who was the weatherman in the video, just to see if they're actually paying attention. Again, this is a lesson that is designed to meet the needs of multiple intelligences because we are using the ScreenChomp app, which naturally engages kinesthetic learners, visual learners, and verbal learners. In addition, viewing the video is going to apply well for our visual learners, for our verbal learners. These small groups are going to be great for our interpersonal learners. There are so many ways to address the needs of learners in the classroom. Day 3, we're going to begin with a discussion about the video that was viewed the day before. We're also going to review our comprehension questions to make sure that our students remember what was discussed the day before. We're going to go over our vocabulary terms as well, just to be sure that their brains are ready to learn. Then, we're going to have students discuss what type of weather they find interesting, if they have a favorite storm that they might want to learn more about. Maybe they think lightning is beautiful. So we're going to give them this opportunity to voice their opinions. When they voice their opinions, we're actually going to use the smartboard to graph their opinions, and then we're going to group students based on what their responses are. So maybe a group of students will prefer hot weather, and so this group of students may be doing, an extreme heat wave, maybe what weather they're exploring, or they may want to choose to do a tropical storm. Now, another group of students might be very interested in lightning and thunder, and so they might look up lightning storm. So we're going to group students based on their interests. Again, this day is infused with ways to meet the needs of multiple learners through our verbal discussions, through our using the smartboard as a graph is going to appeal to our logical learners because they're going to see it laid out in mathematical sense, things that they can understand. And then grouping our students again for our interpersonal learners is just absolutely unequivocal. For day 4, we're actually going to begin our research. Now we're going to begin our research in our groups that were formed the day before. For our research, we are allowed to use YouTube. We can use books, including library books, textbooks, anything they find in the classroom or at home is fair game. Now also there may be some apps that they can explore on the iPad, but they will need to find them in their groups because that is part of our research project. So they're going to go on to the App Store and they're actually going to be looking for hopefully free apps that by Googling the term weather, just so that they have exposure to what it's like to research. And also, of course, they can use Google. Once they've done a little bit of research, they're going to have a discussion within their small group. Now, their group is only going to have 3 to 4 students, and it's going to be led by a paraprofessional or by the teacher. And the teacher will lead the discussion. The teacher will supervise all the research, which makes it accessible for students this age, because otherwise this could be a very large struggle for them. And once they've had their discussion, they're going to create a circle map, which looks a lot like this graph in front of us. As a matter of fact, let me pull up a circle map for you example so that you can see what a circle map looks like. So here we go. This is a page that has multiple examples of circle maps. And what a circle map basically is in the middle you put the subject. So you're going to put the name of the storm that they're working on. For argument's sake, let's choose lightning. Say they're going to be researching a lightning storm. So they're going to put that into the small circle inside right here. Then they're going to write down everything they know. They're going to work on defining the lightning storm. So a lightning storm is going to be defined by thunder and lightning. It's going to be defined by possibly rain. Maybe it's hot outside. Maybe it's cold outside. Maybe they've had experience with a lightning storm and they'd like to share that experience on their circle map. This is the place where we collect all of our ideas in preparation for our main project. For day 5, you're going to begin the day in your small groups. You're going to review the circle map so that students have a fresh memory of what was discussed the day before. From there, they're going to work together to transport the information from the circle map to another relevant map. The 2 that I can think of that would be most relevant would be a tree map and a flow chart. Let me pull up an example of a tree map and I'll explain how it can be used for this activity. Here is a perfect example of a tree map. Now, a tree map can be used for this activity in that we can go to our circle map and we can circle specific characteristics that we have previously recorded, and we're going to take them and move them over to the tree map in a way that organizationally makes sense. Now, going back to our idea of lightning storms, we can go ahead and put the term lightning storm up top right here, and then we can come up with what we would like to say about lightning storms. So lightning storms are, and then we can have a descriptive sentence right here about our lightning storms. Lightning storms can, and we can describe something else, something that they could do. Lightning storms have, or lightning storms happen when, and we can go ahead and put that information here. Now hopefully we have this correct information in our circle map so that we just have to move the information from one map to the other, and now we are organized and ready to create our presentation. So this is a perfect example of a flowchart that you could be used to sequence some weather changing events. So you could take and You could look at the cycle of a weather process. For example, you could look at what happens so that you know when it's going to rain. The clouds come out, maybe a light drizzle, change of color in the sky, change of temperature, and try and sequence them according to whatever their research has indicated. Now this could include, maybe they would have a more scientific answer. That would depend on the student or students in each group and what they are capable of producing. Once the new information has been input onto the new thinking map, students can use an app called Screen Chomp, which we have mentioned previously, to go ahead and draw illustrations and describe the information that is happening in their thinking map. For example, if they were to choose the tree map, they could draw pictures of whatever it was that they wrote in there, is, has, or can, or whatever their layout for their tree map was. Likewise, with the weather cycle, they can draw pictures of each event that they noted in their thinking map. So for day 6, teacher will lead the students in a discussion about proper safety precautions for their chosen type of weather. The teacher can again create another circle map and record student input and ideas about proper safety for their chosen weather cycle. Now, once students have completed the safety discussion, they will work together in groups to design an illustration of their chosen weather pattern or type. Now, students for this activity, if they prefer, they can use paper, they can use crayons. However, again, the Screen Chomp app is available and is capable of creating illustrations with simply the touch of a finger. Or, notably, you can actually buy a pen for writing on tablets like the iPad so they can have more elaborate designs. I would like to add at this point that there is an optional activity on the day 6, which is instead of just simply speaking into the Screen Chomp app, students may choose to create a rap song or a short rhyme or poem, a poetic song. And this would engage our musical learners as to not leave them out from all of these other activities which reach the other intelligences so often. Now, once the students have designed their background depicting their weather phenomenon, they're going to go ahead and take turns acting it out and practicing what it would be like to behave appropriately in that weather. Now, after they have decided how they're going to act and what they're going to draw, they're going to go up to the smartboard and they're going to recreate their visual background, and they're going to act out these proper safety techniques, and the teacher is going to record this in iMovie. On day 7, the students and the teachers in each group are going to come together and they're going to take all of their multimedia creations and they're going to merge them using into one final document or one final media production using Camtasia. Now, for Camtasia, it is pretty easy to use, although it is recommended that the teacher do most of the editing using student input. However, if some students were feeling capable and maybe wanted to help add the music or maybe wanted to learn about how to make the cut, that would be something that would probably be okay for them to do. And that way they're also involved in their final project. Day 8, we are going to call the movie day. This will also be the day that they receive their ultimate grades. This day will be basically a viewing of each final project followed by a discussion about key points in each media production. So if one student were to do their project on lightning, and then afterwards other students who did not do their project on lightning could talk about what they learned, what they would like to know about lightning, all the things that they learned from watching that presentation, as well as the questions that watching that presentation may have incited in them. After the responses have been recorded onto a circle map, because that is the proper map for this type of discussion, there's going to be a little wrap-up discussion, which will have each student sharing their exit questions. Again, these will be items that came off of the circle map and were included in the discussion, but the students will now be required to verbally state them if they are verbal students. So one thing that they already knew, like most students probably know that lightning and thunder goes together. One thing that they learned, at this age, it's possible that they learned that lightning consisted of electricity. And one thing they still have a question about, maybe they would have a question about how to stay safe outside when you're not in a vehicle, or when maybe they would have questions about different types of umbrellas if they act as conductors. I know there are multiple cartoons that depict that. Now for the assessment, there are actually 2 separate rubrics that will be used to grade. One will be the group grade, and that will be for the ultimate project, the video. That will be including all of their Screen Chomp apps that have been merged, as well as their video of them acting it out, and any other clips that they may have chosen to include. This could include maybe they saw a YouTube video and they wanted to add a clip from it to make it more interesting. Again, this would be led by the teacher, so it is possible that the students would have some very interesting things in their videos. And the individual grade rubric would be given for the student participation. So students would be graded by their group's teacher or a paraprofessional on their own specific participation and their level of participation. Thank you for watching. This has been a unit in weather for diverse multiple intelligences. Thank you so much.